Hello and welcome to LeeLive, the post-Bayonetta edition. I'm not sure why I didn't talk about this last night. I think I might have mentioned it in passing. I'm pretty sure I did, but I actually had just gotten through playing Bayonetta 1. And by playing Bayonetta 1, I mean beating it on the highest difficulty. Yes, I have beaten Bayonetta on Infinite Climax, and am now in the process of 100%ing the game, which is going to be obnoxious and tedious because of some unnecessary mechanics that I don't enjoy very much. There are a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Bayonetta. I guess I should go to full screen here so you can see the action and all of its glory. There's so much to say about Bayonetta. I've played through the game twice in the past couple of weeks, on hard and then again on Infinite Climax, and I immediately started another playthrough of trying to platinum everything on normal, and then I'll do the same on hard, and then the same on Infinite Climax, and I'm having a blast. It says a lot about the quality of the game, I think, that I'm not only willing to play the game over and over and over again, I'm willing to do it on a variety of different difficulty settings, on a variety of different consoles, because I own this on PlayStation 3, Wii U, and the Switch, so this is not my first time playing through the game. And I still have fun with it. It's kind of unbelievable just how well this game has held up. I've heard a lot of people suggest this game is something like 600 hours long. If you really want to master everything, like going for pure platinum in every verse, in every chapter, in every difficulty. The thing that really sticks out to me, which I think makes this game clearly better than Devil May Cry. Well, one of the things anyway, that there are several things that make this game way better than all of the DMC games combined. The thing that interests me is that there are reasons the game is radically different depending on what difficulty you're playing on. Like, enemy placements are moved, the strategy changes, the points you need to get platinum changes. Some things are difficult, some things are way more difficult on Infinite Climax. Like, this segment here actually gave me a lot of trouble on Infinite Climax because you have to torture these things, and that's just kind of a pain. The combos are more complex. The situations are more insane. The game is more fun to actually play. There's even little things like the platforming and the non-action game segments. Like, they are way more memorable, way more interesting, way more fun than anything in DMC. I think Bayonetta is a much more enjoyable, fun to watch, fun to play character than Dante. She sticks out more. She's more. She has a much better design. She's much more unique and creative and unimitatable, I think. Dante, in comparison, is very generic. Oh, he has a sword and some guns. Compared to Bayonetta and her crazy ass powers, her abilities, pulling, which are inspired from real world mythology and legends of witchcraft and stuff like that. It's a really incredible blend of both stellar creativity and real world history and culture. It's an incredible design, one that I think should be seen as an evolution of what came before. It's not a downgrade, and it's not a matter of preference, to be completely honest with you. Like, when someone tells me that they prefer Devil May Cry 3 or 5 over this, my first thought is that they're a pleb, and I hold true to that. I feel that Bayonetta is more complex mechanically. I think it has more merit. I think it has more replay value. I think it has way better boss fights. Even like stupid things like the nature of like the story, the environments, the visuals. I think look better. The animation, just the combo system, like everything in Bayonetta is better. I am having trouble thinking of a single thing that I liked more in any of the Devil May Crys than Bayonetta, and I can't come up with anything, right? Like, all the things that Devil May Cry fans love to hype up, like Virgil 3, Devil May Cry 3 in general, the combos, the difficulty, the action, the craziness, it all comes behind Bayonetta, and it's not like a small gap either. Like, Bayonetta is one of the most fun to play, addicting action games ever made. Not only is it complex, it manages to balance. It's accessible too. Like, you can get through the game just fine on easy or very easy, but to get really, really good, you really have to learn how to play the game and how to handle it, and what works and what doesn't. Oh, he forgot the. He didn't trigger the Alfheim. Yeah, that's definitely. When I have problems with video games, when I have problems with this game, it's so minor and so pointless. It's almost not even worth complaining about. To be completely bluntly honest with you, I feel as if when people are complaining about Bayonetta, they're desperately trying to find a reason to not like it. It's a mindset that I think came about because of Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3, by extension, being Nintendo exclusives, where you're not really allowed to like this IP or character anymore. So there's this weird sense of elitism among Devil May Cry fans. They don't talk shit about God of War 2018 or Ghost of Tsushima, but yeah, they'll definitely complain about Ninja Gaiden. They'll definitely complain about Bayonetta. They'll definitely pretend those games aren't very good or interesting, even though they're both way, way better. Ninja Gaiden, that's probably going to be... That's on the list. It's going to happen soon. I'm going to give my thoughts on that shortly, and needless to say, I have played enough of it to tell you that yes, Ninja Gaiden Black is way better than Devil May Cry. Bayonetta, if Bayonetta has any blemishes at all, it's like seeing, like, I don't know, like a scar on like a beautiful, like a tiny little scar on like a beautiful girl. Like, you don't care about the scar. Like, if she's amazing and fun to be around, you're going to want to be around her anyway. Like, a tiny scar, like, who gives a shit? And that's my thoughts on criticisms of Bayonetta, and that, like, it's not a flawless game. Right off the top of my head, I do have some problems with some of the way some of the hidden content is handled. I'm not a fan of the way Alfheim portals work. I'm not a fan of how you have to play through them in order to, like, get a higher score for the entire level. I don't like how they're technically considered hidden verses. I don't like how that, like, can affect your score. It makes no sense to me, and I think it's really bogs down the game, and it makes going for pure platinums a complete drag. And I think I'm gonna have to, like, play around with my build a bit in order to even get through some of these, because one of the early ones needs witch time to work, and it doesn't seem in Infinite Climax witch time is disabled. So I think I need a specific accessory in order to do that, but I don't think I bought it or unlocked it or something. Maybe there's a way around it, but I didn't figure it out when I tried it. It's kind of a drag. Like, even if the Alfheim should have been, like, an optional thing that you do once for like an upgrade. Like you don't need it for, you shouldn't need it, I should say, for your overall platinum, at the end of the level score. I think it kind of bogs down the game. Another thing, and this might be the one thing I think DMC might actually do better. I don't like the motorcycle segment or the rail shooter segment. Both are terrible. Both are like part of the worst levels in the game. Chapter 14 of this is completely ruined. One of the best boss fights in the game, the one that shits all over Virgil, Gene 4, right? The last time you fight Gene, it's ruined by the fact that you have to play that tedious as hell Space Harrier segment beforehand, and it's so frustrating. It's so boring. It's so like mind-numbingly dull that I just can't help but just. It's not acceptable. It really, really is not acceptable. I feel. I feel as if they need to stop putting these needless action games. Like, if it's not as good as the base game, like, leave it out. Like, it should have been gone. It should have been, like... Platinum Games is not very good at that, I've noticed. I didn't like the ones in Mad World either. I don't like the ones in... maybe the Wonderful 101. It's been so long since I played the Wonderful 1, I honestly couldn't tell you. Astral Chain is probably the best they've ever been, so hopefully in Bayonetta 3, if they make a return, the segment is actually fun to play or optional. In Bayonetta 2, this is the one nice thing I think I'll say about Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2, I don't think there were any. Like, the rail shooting segment at the end of that one, the Star Fox one, was way more reasonable, way more tolerable. It still wasn't good, but it wasn't like the frustrating, like, terrible thing that Bayonetta's 1 segments were. So, yeah, Route 666 and the whole rocket flying thing, like, that is the worst. That's boring, and honestly, I think I stopped like several times playing Chapter 14 in this playthrough because like they're so long and so boring and just cannot be reasoned with. Just unbelievable. I am not a fan of those segments. But it doesn't bog down the overall game at all. Like, the boss fights are probably a genre highlight. I can't think of any boss fights that I enjoy more than the ones in this one throughout, like, an entire game. Maybe there are, like, some boss fights in other games that I like more, but I can't think of a collection of bosses that I like more than what you do in this game. Like, Fortitudo, Temperentia, Iestia, or Justitia, Indiana Jones. There's no J in Hebrew. What's the line? That's the logic behind it. It's like supposed to be like the cardinal virtue of justice or something, and there's no J in. Damn, I forgot what the line was. I'll have to read up on that. Like I said, there's a lot of cultural hidden things in Bayonetta that's not obvious, not exactly obvious. It takes a lot of influences from all sorts of things, and it's a lot of fun for that. Like, Platinum Games, I think, really hit their stride with this game. Mad World was very, very disappointing. I am not a fan of that game, but Bayonetta came out later and became a classic. There's no way around it. I think this is one of the very, very few games of the 7th generation that actually won me over, that actually made me a fan. It's one of the very few creative, legitimately amazing new IPs of that time period. In a world where like Bioshock and like Red Dead Redemption were getting all this praise and attention, Bayonetta came out and has proven itself to be better than all of them, and it's still getting well-received sequels today. It's still relevant, like she got into Smash. There's plenty of reason to be excited about this IP, and I hope it continues in the future. Maybe. maybe this is a topic for another video, but one of my fringe topics, one of my ideas I've been having, especially when it comes to this Platinum Games thing. Do we really need sequels to these IPs? Wonderful 101 is probably not ever getting a sequel, and I think people brought this up a lot when it came to The Last of Us when it first came out, but I wonder if it can apply to the Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta as well. Like, is a sequel a good idea? Like, it's not going to be as fresh, as interesting, and unique as the original, and it's taking development resources away from creating entirely new, compelling content and material, like new IPs, essentially. So my belief, my thought, I'm not sure how I exactly feel on this yet. I think I would have preferred Bayonetta 2 not come out at all, and Platinum Games make another exclusive title. Maybe I'm just kind of really down on Bayonetta 2. I'm very, very critical of that game. It really does not hold a candle to this one. The original, maybe I'm just kind of down on it for that reason. Maybe Bayonetta 3 will be amazing. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But for the most part, like, I do feel a lot like there could have been endless sequels in a video game series are not really a good thing. It really does feel like there's not a lot of finality. There's always this like pressure to like make sequels and rehashes. And we're gonna be talking about that later. So stay tuned for that. But there is just there's something to be said that like there is I want new games. Like, I don't necessarily want more of the same every year or decade, or the same people to make the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I want change. I want something different. People rail on Nintendo for making things like Wind Waker and A Link Between Worlds, but those games have gone on to become classics. It's kind of weird. In that respect, I'm a big fan of highly controversial games. The Wonderful 101, completely new IP. Like, there are all these reasons to. There's no reason to sort of constantly beg and demand sequels, even if you really like the original game. It might not be as good as the old one, and it might burn you out the franchise. That's just kind of my thought there. Just something I've noticed about Bayonetta. Oof. Bayo 3 coming our way pretty soonish. Yeah, pretty soonish. Yeah, hello. Yes, Bayonetta 3. Man, I don't even know when it's coming out. 2020. Like, I would have said 2020, but I don't know. No news. I really wonder what the deal is. At this point, it has to be the coronavirus. Like, it's in Japan now. They're closing down schools and stuff. I think Nintendo is holding off on announcements for now. And honestly, at this point, we might not get a Direct until E3 2020, and that's going to be a weird situation if we go an entire 9 months without E3. Just yes, Beautiful Joe 3. That's kind of what I was talking about. Beautiful Joe 2 is not as good as the original, and I don't care about it at all. Platinum Games take on a Mega Man title coming to Switch. Look forward to it. That might not be a bad idea. Yes, Latin. Okay, Latin. That's it. Yeah, okay, Latin. I completely forgot. I wanted to say Hebrew for some reason. Okay, so yes. But yeah, that's the mindset there. Alright, so I think I've talked about everything Bayonetta related. There's definitely more content to be had out of the game. Like I said, I have like some weapons I need to unlock. I have like some platinums to get. I have the true secret final boss to beat, which I'm really, that's the main motivation to keep going at this point. Because I've heard that boss is insane, and most people haven't beaten it. So most people don't even know it exists, really. So I'm I'm super hyped about doing that for real, and I think I'll be moving on to another action game after I do that. I'm taking a break on Bayonetta, a sort of a small break on Bayonetta now. I think I'm going to play some Astral Chain for a bit and see what that's like, see what the post-game for that is like. Keep going on that and keep working to do everything, or do more things in that game. Probably not everything, but it is a pretty lengthy game. More things in Astral Chain, and see if I want to stop or play it through it again, or we'll see. I am popping it in again. I do expect I'll be talking about it soon. I did not play Astral Chain enough when it first came out. It came out during that really busy time for me last year. What was I doing? Yeah, I think I just finished Eye of the Dragon, and like Fire Emblem came out like a month later, and that ate up my entire life. So yeah, that was very busy around that time period. I'm definitely anxious to get back to it. It's in my Switch now, and I'm going to play it right after I finally finish watching Akira, which I should have done. I said I was going to do a long time ago, but I never ever got around to it. Unbelievable. All right, so I think that's everything I wanted to say about Bayonetta. Love the game. Yeah. I've heard it's crazy long, but I have no idea. I actually still know very little about Astral Chain because people haven't been talking about it much. I don't know what the deal is or what the situation is with that one, but it's not very talked about online. It's weird. I mean, I guess like the online community is mostly controlled by like Sony fanboys, so you get all this hype for shit like Nier Automata and then like nothing at all for Astral Chain. It's really strange. I don't care for it at all. I'm definitely going to be speaking out against that in the future. The bias is unreal. There was no reason for Nier to have more hype behind it than Astral Chain. There's no justification for that. I think more people were talking about Scalebound than Astral Chain. It's so weird how like Scalebound has been kind of forgotten. This weird thing with Platinum Games. I don't know what the deal is with their like reputation. They can get away with like all this crazy stuff, like the Kickstarter and ripping people off with the port and just. I don't know what the deal is with that. They really need to. I don't know if there's ever going to be a backlash. I'm seeing minor backlash. I'm seeing minor complaints. I believe Missa T made a video complaining. Don't quote me on that. I don't watch his content, but that's the impression I got going by that thumbnail I saw. Oh wow, that was embarrassing. Did you see that? She just ran into the back of the car. Okay. Okay, so Bayonetta, Astral Chain. Alright, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about when it came to Bayonetta. I believe. Bayonetta in Platinum Games, I believe. So, long story short, Bayonetta is an amazing game. True 10 out of 10. Like, when I 100% a game several times, it is clearly well worthy of praise and attention. Let's see. Why do my videos keep popping up whenever I type things in? Alright. I was actually thinking of streaming Final Fantasy VII myself, actually. But I decided against it for a couple of reasons. For one thing, I wanted to talk about other topics, and for another, I didn't want to like come straight home and like start streaming. I just that didn't sound appealing to me, really. I just wanted to talk about the game a bit. So I have been playing the original Final Fantasy VII. I am playing the full version, the full already released version of Final Fantasy VII, and I suspect I'm already past the part where the demo is going to leave off. Or, I'm sorry, part 1 is going to leave off. I strongly suspect that the game is going to end. The remake is going to end once they decide to leave Midgar. And that takes about 3 hours in the original. So that's going to be my big thing with Final Fantasy VII R, is that someone brought this up on 4chan. It's going to be a Final Fantasy 15 situation in which a lot of people, a reasonable amount of people, will buy the game day one because, ooh, it's the big new Final Fantasy game, but then they won't go ahead and buy the sequels, like the other parts to it. We're going to see a drop-off. Like, we're going to see people not want to continue the story, and that's kind of the problem with this episodic format, in which I think near the end especially, we're going to see like budget cuts and like just a disaster, like a refusal to sort of adhere to any sort of like reasonable schedule. Like, I don't think have they even started work on the other parts yet? Have they confirmed that? Have they done anything with, like, we don't know how many parts there are going to be. We don't know when part 1 is going to end. We don't know what the release schedule is. Like, the fact that, like, we don't have any information at all is a massive, massive red flag for me. And I think once the game is actually out and people can start, like, judging these the game on its like full merits instead of this like, oh, I'm so nostalgic, my nostalgia, like they did with the demo, right? If you're nostalgic for the original, play the original. You don't need this remake. Like, I'm doing it. I wouldn't say no to a good remake, but nothing about this release seems good. And yeah, Final Fantasy VII. Oof. The remake is shaping up to be a disappointment. I think it's going to be another Final Fantasy 15 situation in which Square is going to pretend it's a huge hit and like hype it up to shareholders in order to defend their brand. But I think behind the scenes, it's going to be a different story. I think it's going to be a disaster. Honestly, I could not tell Jessie was a girl when I first played this game. I don't know what it is. Like, it just must be the design. But yeah,
So the last time I came through these places was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is a really legitimately good game, though, and there are things that I would love to see remastered or remade with modern hardware, like the Shinra HQ building, where you're like, where the whole prison segment, and then like Genova breaks out and like goes upstairs and murders the president. Like, that's creepy as fuck, and that's actually the one thing out of part 1 of the remake I'm interested in seeing, watching a YouTube video of, at least. And that's the thing with the remake. Like, the only thing that's interesting me about it is, like, well, they did faithfully seem to recreate the environments and the characters in, like, this new engine and, like, fully voice acted and just, like, well, I would like to see that, but, and this is a big but, I can literally YouTube it. Like, when there's no incentive for me to... it's the Telltale problem. Like, why would I pay money for this product where I can get the same amount of enjoyment out of it, like, just by watching a video? Like, when you get right down to it, like, when the appeal is the graphics and the story, there's no reason to play the game. Final Fantasy VII is really, really fun to play. People don't talk about that much, but it is. It's very intuitive. It's very you can do all sorts of things. It's accessible. Like, anyone can get into it, but it has a lot of depth. It's a really, really good game. A really well balanced game. And just I don't really see that happening for remake. I really, really don't. I'm not sure how. Are they even going to bring random battles back? Is the entire thing scripted? How long is this game going to be? Like, when you get right down to it, like, the demo took about, like, what, 20 minutes? I'm not sure if you can tell how long things are taking with this one. Okay, yeah, 20 minutes. Okay, so they're about where the boss is in the demo now. Like, it's right down the ladder here. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to beat it. So yeah, about 20 minutes. So it seems like a 1-to-1 remake. Like, we don't know how they've padded out the game. We don't know what what the new content is,
when it comes
and
to saves, I'm gonna be
I
making as many
think
saves as I can because
it's going to be terrible. I don't think it's going to
of
be.
the whole, like, missable situation.
I don't think that's really
But
going
there's something
to
important I
add
missed,
to the
I think,
game at
how it
all. I
worked
think it's going
is
to
at
take
the start
away
of
a
the
lot,
session,
actually.
like, if I'm too
well,
far back, I'll go and get it.
Again,
Get myself back up
it's
to
not
that,
obvious
something like that.
how they're going to mess this up just by looking at
Or I'll
it.
just go
My
back
guess
and
is
I'll
they're
show
going
you
to like
guys
mess
what I
up the
did miss,
whole
and I'll
like
probably,
sort of.
continue without it if it's not
Why'd he go
something
back?
to
Okay.
We'll see how that goes, but
My guess is they're going to mess up some kind of like obscure thing with the lore, or like contradict it with some of the supplementary material, which nobody likes. That's my perspective on it. Is that like they're going to mess with like the little things and make it not engaging or fun to play. I'm very interested in seeing just how this thing sort of blows up in Square's face, because I think it is going to be a disaster. A lot of people are like shilling this game right now, but I don't think it's going to have staying power, especially because it's episodic. I think the episodic thing alone, like, even if I loved the game and the way it looked, I think that alone would kill it. Like, it's that big of a deal to me. You can adjust the battle speed in this game? What? I didn't know that. Okay. I never mess around with these options. Okay, so for me personally, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII. Oh, actually, I put it on sleep mode. I still have it up. Yeah, I was playing Final Fantasy VII, and I literally just left Midgar, went to Calm, and now I'm preparing for the famous flashback sequence in which Cloud explains his version of what happened in Nibelheim, which is a really good scene for a lot of reasons, and really, I think it's probably one of Final Fantasy VII's most defining scenes. It really builds a lot for the characters and lore, and it really makes Cloud a compelling protagonist, I think. I think that's where Cloud's true character, the strength of his character, truly shines in Nibelheim. If that's how you pronounce it, presumably Nibelheim. Great game. I'm really excited to experience it again, man. I fully intend to 100% it on the Switch. I think it's going to be easier, actually, with the speed up feature. I would like to actually get Knights of the Round and like unlock all of these super secret stuff. There's lots of hidden stuff in this game and optional content, which I think a lot of modern RPGs are kind of lacking in. In hindsight, I think that's some of the most memorable things about Final Fantasy VI, is going around the world and just discovering all the weird shit you can find. Like, it's just, wow. Optional dragon super bosses. You have to find all the characters. You have to do all of this crazy stuff. Yeah, 7 has a lot of like the secret weapons and stuff like that. I actually don't remember exactly what 7's sort of optional post game sort of thing is like. Well, I say post game, but what the optional stuff is like.
I think because I've been playing Final Fantasy 13.
I just remember the main story. So yeah, I am interested in experiencing that and seeing what that's like.
Okay, cool.
I really love the game in general, and the reason I'm doing this is because I love it so much. So we're going to have to see what this is like on Nintendo hardware. I'm so excited about getting back to it. I kind of want to go play it now, to be completely honest with you. I'm super hyped for it.
Here it goes. Nice.
Let's see here.
Okay, I'm going pretty aggressively.
How's chat? Yep. Astral Chins. Alright, so yeah, so the big thing that's that I've noticed, I wonder if this is on 4chan now. Let's see, can I just get the demo? Yeah, so Square Enix recently made a interesting statement regarding Final Fantasy VII. Let me see if I can... The remake. Let me see. Wait a minute. Let me see if this... let's see, where is it? I should have had this brought up, but I can never find these specific articles. Damn. Maybe it's on Niche Gamer. So, okay, so the general idea is that can I find it? When was this? This was a while ago. Yeah, okay, so basically, the gist of it, the gist of this article was that Square was hyping up the remake and teasing new remakes, specifically a new one for Parasite Eve, which I actually do need to go out and play. I am planning on picking that one up eventually. The original release, not the remake. Square and other third-party companies have been obsessively hyping up remakes and rehashes for the past several years, right? We've had this remake, we've had like shit like we've had this remake, we've had like talk of other remakes, like Resident Evil 3 remake is being rushed out. You have like all this talk of like rehashing and re-releasing all this old content, and they're not really making anything new. Like, they're not really being innovative or like creating new interesting things. They have reached the point where these third-party developers have reached the point where they're so creatively stagnant that they're basically just re-releasing the same thing over and over. It is the early stages of what's happened in Hollywood, where like nothing original gets made. They simply just do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, hoping it would get people to go out and watch movies, and more and more people are just getting sick and tired of it. Like, are people really going to go out and like get hyped for Parasite Eve the way they got hyped for this? Like, are people really going to get hyped for like Shenmue remastered, a Shenmue remake? Like, would people really get excited over, I don't know, the original Metal Gear Solid getting remastered, or what even else? What even else is there? Like some big old PlayStation game. I mean, I can't even name anything because, well, they're already kind of running out of titles to re-release. Like, Final Fantasy VII was really the last card they had to play. What are they going to make? They're not going to remake Xenogears. They're not going to make a Chrono Cross. They're not going to nothing they have is going to like drum up the interest and hype they need. Like this is. Like, the only reason people are defending this game is because it's Final Fantasy VII. That's the only reason why. It's not because of like it looks particularly good or plays particularly well. It's just because they're fanboys and they gotta hype up the new shiny thing on their PlayStation because they really have nothing else to play. I've seen so many Twitter users like, PlayStation is getting 3 games in the next 3 months. That's such a great summer. And I'm just like, 3 games? Like, I think I've bought more games than that. I usually buy more games than that for my Switch every week, to be completely honest with you. Maybe not every week because I've been cutting back on games, but you know what I mean. Like, I have plenty of games, more games than that, to get on Switch pretty much all the time, right? Meanwhile, you guys are seriously hyping up like this, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us Part 2, all of which are going to be extremely disappointing. Cyberpunk 2077, Angry Joe released an entire list of games he was looking forward to this year. and they were all complete garbage. He was throwing shit like Watch Dogs Legion on there, and Gods and Monsters, like all this shit that no one really cares about, and it's embarrassing. Like, stop playing third-party games. Go Nintendo exclusive. Like, it's embarrassing how Angry Joe will sit there and be like, oh, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I would really, really love a Ghostbusters game. And then never play Luigi's Mansion 3. Oh, I'm so hyped for Cyberpunk. Oh, I need to play this game right now. Doesn't play Astral Chain. It goes on and on with these motherfuckers. They'll get hyped up for shitty derivative clones of Nintendo stuff, like Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft, and lame-looking pirate games that they know nothing about, that I know nothing about. It is embarrassing to see these people continue. Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, was number 4 on his list, or something crazy like that. Joe doesn't care about Final Fantasy, and yet, this demo was so good, I was so hyped. No, it wasn't. I don't believe that for a second. There is no way. There is no way he was not paid for that review. I'm just baffled. I am so baffled by the sheer lack of scrutiny this game is getting, or PlayStation or Square in general is getting. This should not have taken 5 years to make. This should have been out at the beginning of the console lifespan. It shouldn't have been episodic. They shouldn't have changed the combat. They shouldn't have done all of this shit to ruin this classic game. And yet none of these false fans, I want to call them pretendos, but again, this is PlayStation. This is a PlayStation problem. I don't know what to call these people. Posers, I suppose, are getting hyped up and applauding because PlayStation tells them it's time to. That it's time to be excited. It's time to be hyped. Ooh, Final Fantasy VII is back on PS4. Pre-order episode 1 today. It's embarrassing. It really is pathetic. I hate it. It needs to stop for real. Not a fan of these remakes or rehashes. Square Enix will be milking remakes out of Final Fantasy VII until the end of time. Yes, they literally did say that. That was the article I was looking for. It was some guy at Square Enix saying that, yeah, I'm prepared to work on Final Fantasy VII. I'm not sure if it was specifically the remake, but Final Fantasy VII until I retire. Literally until I don't have to work on this franchise anymore. Unbelievable. They are just rehashing and just being lazy fucks, and no one is calling out on that. It's so interesting, right? So many people are oh, I'm so hyped for this game. Where's the hype for Final Fantasy 16? Why is no one talking about what Final Fantasy 16 is going to look like? Where was the hype for Kingdom Hearts 3? It's so fake, and it's so transparent, and it's just so pathetic to see these people always try and hype up the next big PlayStation game. The Last of Us is a particularly big offender. God of War 2018 was an offender. The entire PS2 library was an offender, I suppose. These games are not good. If you're a sophisticated adult who plays everything, you'll realize very, very quickly that the Nintendo stuff is way better than the competition, right? Way better, and it's not even really a contest. You really, non-Nintendo fans, the fakes, the posers, the non-gamers, I was calling them, they have been bamboozled, basically tricked into thinking that Nintendo is behind the times, that they can't compete, that they're irrelevant, that they don't make any new interesting games, when that really isn't true. Shit, how many games have I bought this year, that I have?
with a brilliant evolution of the turn-based combat model with state-of-the-art.
Like, how many games have I played in the past year alone on Nintendo consoles that have just been heads and shoulders above the rest of the industry? Like, it's just embarrassing. Like, Octopath Traveler, right? Like, way better than this remake. Honestly, it might be better than Final Fantasy VII for itself for some reason, the original. Maybe that's kind of a harsh, but I really like Octopath. Big Octopath fan. Let's see.
So in this video, I'm going to show you 4 sections of the game and talk about what I learned.
Final Fantasy VII.
You should know that this is not my gameplay. I was able to record, but I couldn't record.
So yeah, how do we expose these people? I think the best bet is just to keep playing the games we like, talking about the games we like, and rejecting all of this corporate bullshit that we're just supposed to eat up and just ask for seconds, right? Like, there's no reason to
I was watching the people next to me like streaming ahead. And
there's no reason to be interested in The Last of Us Part 2. There's no interest, like, there's no real interest among gamers, like, for a Last of Us sequel. Like, it's so bizarre, right? Like, people will talk all this shit about how The Last of Us is this amazing video game, but featuring zombies, and no one seriously has asked, like, ooh, is it better than Resident Evil 2? Is it better than Resident Evil 4? Like, no, because it's not. Like, it clearly is not. It cannot compete, clearly, and Resident Evil 4 was a 2004 GameCube release. The Last of Us literally could not compete with a GameCube game that came out 9 years before it. That is the reality of The Last of Us. And since then, like, what's happened? Like, Resident Evil 7 was better. Resident Evil Remake 2 was apparently really good. I have no problem believing that both those games are better than The Last of Us. Although I haven't played either. I have no trouble at all. And are people really supposed to just blindly just follow the leader and agree with the game journalists that The Last of Us is some spectacular masterpiece, like above the rest of the industry? No, I don't think so. It can't really compete. Like, the only reason you would think The Last of Us or these PlayStation games in general, Uncharted 4, Jak and Daxter, Bloodborne, Knack, Killzone, even shit like Destiny or Watch Dogs. Like, the only reason you would think those games are special is if you haven't played anything good, like legitimately great. You don't have enough gamers to, okay, what was I getting at? These people are ignorant as to what's actually out there. They have no idea that Nintendo puts out better games than the very best PlayStation has ever put out, like almost regularly, like almost on a month-to-month basis, I think. Like Animal Crossing New Horizons, I think that by itself is going to be better than every major PlayStation 4 release combined. It's going to have like hundreds of hours of playtime. It's going to have all the stuff to do. It's going to be an amazing game. Oh, by the way, 2 weeks to go until Animal Crossing New Horizons. I guess I could just play that. Play Animal Crossing New... Fuck yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizons. So yeah, 2 weeks to go. That's going to be spectacular. What else is coming out that weekend? A lot of stuff. Doom Eternal, it's coming to Switch. I'm getting the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. That shows you where my priorities lie. I'm getting that and Animal Crossing. Fuck Doom. Well, I have Doom pre-order too. So maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, that Switch is dominating. Like, to be completely honest with you, there's no real competing with it. Like, right now, I'm thinking of picking up some new fighting games. I have like The Tourist, that new game from Sheenen that I never got around to playing. I need to do that. Playing Mega Man X Collection, fantastic. Lots of stuff I'm happy with Switch on. I'm playing on Switch right now. It is phenomenal. I am having a great time with Switch, and meanwhile, PlayStation fans are... I don't even know what they're doing. Like, tweeting about how awesome Dreams is, I think. Dreams, the complete failure. Holy shit. Like, the... Dreams, I think, is kind of proof that a lot of these games are shilled, because I find it so strange that like all these YouTubers would make videos, the same kind of videos covering this game, and then it not having any real traction. Like, it really does feel like Sony paid these YouTubers to virally promote the game, and it completely flopped. Like, Dreams has been a disaster. No one's talking about it. No one's hyped for it. It is a late Project Spark. Project Spark for Xbox, which I am almost 90% sure actually was better than this. I'm not, maybe not that high percentage. Project Spark came out a long time ago and was discontinued before this thing even came out. There is no interest for this kind of game. Like, to be honest with you, like, if you want to make an in-depth video game, like, you're actually working on it. You're actually, like, putting it out there. You're actually going to try to sell it on, like, the Nintendo Switch eShop. Like, you're not going to be, like, sitting on YouTube, like, playing Dreams. I'm streaming Dreams. Like, no. Dreams has been a complete train wreck, and it has no momentum. It has no hype behind it. It is a complete disaster, and nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about, like, Dreams, but plenty of people will talk about, like, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and what's another one? What's a recent Nintendo game that people have been shitting on? I guess I could check V. Yeah, when in doubt, like, check V. I'm not really quite sure. Let's see. What are people bitching about when it comes to Nintendo right now? The Last of Us, Kino Inbound. Oh, yeah! The Last of Us is literally getting a TV show! Oh, no. The future of Naughty Dog is here. I'm wondering if this is going to be a Kojima situation in which, like, these hacks finally get into, like, real television, and, like, people pan them for being shit. Let's see. Let's check these 4chan threads. I don't see anybody talking about Nintendo. 4chan is dead, by the way, because nobody is... Parasite Evil remake confirmed. Yeah, wait. Confirmed. Oh, yeah. Like I said, rehash. Yep, rehash. Who cares? They already fucking ruined the series retroactively with Third Birthday. Yeah, I don't even know what that's about, but yeah. Like I said, there's going to be, like, a lot of skepticism regarding these remakes. Like, people are going to ask, like, well, why don't they make new shit? Like, people are always trying to pretend DMC5 was good. It wasn't. Let's see. The Sonic movie was good. It probably wasn't. I haven't seen it. Let's see. Yeah, nobody's talking about Nintendo right now. I don't know what the deal with that is. I guess it's because there hasn't been a whole lot of news. I can't think of anything they've done. Okay. Kino Inbound. Let's see. TV, based in Lannisterpilled. What's the girl in? She looks familiar. Bros, what went wrong? Wait, what? Wait, what? What's this web? Who is this girl juggling? Wait, what? Is this the actress for Ellie? Wait. Is that the joke? Wait. I actually have no idea. News already in about it. Why did they make Ellie a robot? Who's playing Sarah? Nobody cares. Yeah, that's the, wait, what? No, was that Ivana? Oh, wait, shit. Oh, no, that's not her. No. Never mind. I thought that was someone else. Can you give her, yeah. So, I don't think Yeah, it's going to be like I said this about Hideo Kojima as well. Here are my thoughts on the Last of Us TV show. The Last of Us TV, the TV version, the game with all the game cut out, what little there was to begin with cut out. That version, once that's shown alongside other zombie shows or movies even, once it's shown on like to a demographic that has seen this shit before, it's going to fall flat on its face. Like, they cannot adapt this material and make it fresh and interesting. Like, there's nothing to it. There's no real value to The Last of Us. And I think critics are going to rail on it. Like, I think this is the big thing that's going... TV critics, they are not going to want to admit that a video game writer could make such a compelling work of fiction. So I think there's going to be a lot of railing against it. Like, either it's going to be shilled and be like Star Trek Discovery, in which or Picard or Star Wars, I guess is a better comparison because I don't know anything about Star Trek. Star Wars, where audiences hate it and they're very openly hating it, but like critics will shill it, or the critics will hate it along with everyone else. I don't see any way out for them. Like, this is going to be a disaster. It might actually destroy their credibility that they're good writers, because they really, really are not. Hideo Kojima, I came up with the idea called camera. Let's see. Yeah, I talked about that the other day. Let's see. Final Fantasy VII Remake Reflect. Oh, wait. No, that's Kotaku. Yeah, so people are using basically using this game journal as sucking at the game to try and preemptively damage control people not liking the demo. Oh, if you don't like the demo, you're just like Kotaku. Yeah, it's pure damage control. People don't want to be down on this game at the moment. Okay, so all right, I think that's everything. Let's see. Yep, lots of chats. It's strange how accepting people are to getting screwed over now. Defending Persona 5 Royal being a re-release instead of an expansion. Defending FF7R being episodic. Yeah, that's been a trend for a long time now. PlayStation and Xbox fans are complete cucks. Like, Nintendo fans, this might have something to do with the Pretendos, but Nintendo fans actually, like, got angry at the paid online. Like, I myself was kind of... apprehensive about it. Like, I didn't like it, right? I paid for it anyway because fuck the other companies, but I did not like Nintendo paying for online, like the online subscription service. I did not like that. And you didn't see that from PlayStation fans when they had their subscription service. In fact, they often brag that they have the best one. So it's kind of it's completely delusional. It's blind fanboyism and corporate dick sucking. These people are just very, very sick individuals. No, now they're defending the PS5 potentially being $500 when back at the beginning, yep, other gen, $500 was supposed to be overpriced. Yes, they are indeed doing that. They will always justify whatever PlayStation is doing. Let's see. Dreams is some junk. Complete L. Project Sparks was a superior. You're right, fam. Someone said you've been stalking Xbox and Nintendo YouTubers since Wii PS3 decade. Wait, what? What? Was that aimed at... Oh, whatever. I guess it's not a big deal. Okay, I think I'm ready... I think I'm done. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, I've talked about Bayonetta. I've talked about everything. Nothing else to talk about. I guess I could look at Reset Era, but yeah, I think that's it for the week. This is the last show for the week. I am going to be taking a break from live streaming for the weekend. I'm going to be doing other things. Probably buying some more picture frames, because I actually did. Oh, I might as well show off. my new acquisitions because I do indeed have new posters, but no frame to put them in. I because of Bayonetta, I picked up this gorgeous Bayonetta print of this famous Platinum Games art with depicting Bayonetta and the light and dark sides of Nintendo. It's a amazing poster. I love it a lot. I guess I should make the screen bigger. I'm about to sign off anyway, so I guess it's not a big deal. Let's see here. That's too big, probably. Whatever. Yep, see, Bayonetta. You have Bowser here, Ryu, Little Mac, Mega Man, Zelda, Samus. I love how the villager is on the dark side. Platinum Games knows what's up. Fantastic. Can't wait to have this on the wall. It will be there in the... probably this week. I just need to order the frames. Alright, and this one just came today. I just picked this up, and I am a lot happier with it than I thought I would be. I was just like, I couldn't find any good Star Fox art, and I was just like, do I really want a game cover on it? But now that I have it, now that I own it, like I'm really digging it. Like I love the colors, I love the design. Star Fox 64 is still my favorite, so it is neat. I'm very happy with it, and I bought an Ocarina of Time one as well. So that one is